Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is a video for the Mastermind community. Hope all of you guys are having a beautiful day. This is going to be a decode for XRP. It's been a while since I've done a in-depth Gematria decode on XRP, but I was looking over what was going on back in 2017 and I found some incredible connections, some big numbers standing out. So this video is to help everyone, kind of solidify how I'm using the code and how you can utilize this code for your work. And just to show you how plain and obvious this is, how, we could use the word manipulated. It has no negative connotation. It just is what it is. When we're seeing straight line breakouts that are happening to exact price targets on exact days and they're all correlating with Gematria, well, this is where we could kind of expand our minds and we could see how amazing this code actually is. So that's what today's video is all about. This could end up being a multi-part series. I'll probably end up naming it something like the XRP 2017 Bull Run Decode. And let's just get going. So first and foremost, we have this structure for XRP that was pretty incredible. This is quite normal when a coin enters exchanges and just has a big rally. I was interested in this because the rally back tested around 0058. So if you were to pause the video and look over to the very right of my screen around here, you're going to see it says 0058 and then it rallied up to 058. And I think that's funny because XRP, of course, in Gematria is 58 in English ordinal. So you're going to see a lot of these big connections. But I mean, that's amazing. That pump right there after being basically listed and then back testing this 058 level or 0058 and then pumping directly to 058. 58 in Gematria. So that's just a little piece of this. It's going to get a lot more ridiculous, trust me. You're going to start to see how this code is really bobbing and weaving itself through this entire currency from the day it was brought to exchanges. So let's get into it. Now, I have this chart over here. It might seem a little bit overwhelming. Again, just relax. I'm going to break it all down for you. So the most important thing about this was what got me into this decode. So I was paying attention to this section right here, and that's what we're going to focus on. And you can see right here on March 2nd, XRP just literally started to move, and it was in this really arduous, slow, lacking volatility downtrend. And then right here on March 2nd, that was the pivot point. That was where it popped up, started to do a little bit of a what I would call a backup phase, and then it went on to an SOS, a sign of strength, and then it literally did that within moments. I mean, this is a really explosive breakout. So there's some key dates along this breakout, the first one being the start date of March 2nd, the second one being April 2nd, and then the final one being the last day of this move. But what is so incredible is if you measure off the lows to start off the month of March, and remember, I've taught you guys this many times, March is the true start of the new year. All right. The example that I've given is October. Oct is 8. November. Nov is 9. Then you have December. Des or Dechi is 10. Etc. So all of the numbers are just manipulated basically with the Gregorian calendar. But with that being said, it's obvious that March is a more sensible time to start the calendar because that's when we have the spring and life comes to the, we start having fruits and leaves and beautiful flowers as we transition into April. So this isn't an argument. It's not to debate. It's just saying that time is heavily manipulated. And I think XRP is playing perfectly into how this is all going. Remember, we've seen the historic movements for certain coins around certain times of year. And there's a correlation between how the stock market has its cycles as well. For instance, the stock market has this moment called sell in May, walk away. Of course, we have all of our historic market crashes happening in September, October, November. That has everything to do with Shemitah and Rosh Hashanah and the Hanukkah timeframe. So this is really amazing. I've brought this up in my work for a while now. I don't really want to get too deep into that, but it was just amazing to see how right as this transitioned into the month of March, it started to rally. Now, this is a huge disclaimer for this video. This video is not me saying that we're going to turn into March upcoming soon and this is going to happen. I'm not saying that. This is just a decode I'm sharing. I have technical analysis and exit strategy for this specific coin that will be coming out soon, but I'm just letting you know, this is not me saying that we're going to go to March 2nd in like a month from today and just start this insane breakout. I mean, it would be beautiful if we did it, but this is not what this video is about. This video is about showing you the code, how it's played itself throughout the historical price action of XRP on specific days to specific price targets, and just to help you guys to be able to get better at decoding so that you could apply this knowledge to the investments you have. If you hold XRP, beautiful. It'll be a lot easier for you to translate all this information to the current price action and how we could analyze the market moving forward. But again, this is moreover just education. This isn't me making any predictions. I want to lay that out there early so that people could, take this whole thing as a learning experience and nothing more. Okay, so let's get into it. March 2nd, the first key date, and let's break this down. So we could see right here, March 2nd, 2017. You could just follow my cursor and I'll go through one stage at a time. Around this time frame, this is the 3-2 date, okay? It's the 3-2 date or the 2-3 date written internationally, and the 3-2 and 23 both show up in Ripple and XRP when we're doing Gematria. So this is the least important part of it, but what I do like to see here is the date numerology on this specific day, excuse me, is 15, and XRP equals 15 in Chaldean, and I'll show you everything as we go. So we have XRP equals 15 in Chaldean. That date of March 2nd, I'll type it in here. You look at this part of the screen, March 2nd, 2017. We can see that the date numerology, standard date numerology, was 15. Another thing to note is the date numerology, the way I like to do it, was 42. And this is very important because where we get 42 is in Ripple XRP. And we're going to show you this later, okay? So we have Ripple XRP giving us that 42. And that 42 definitely tying back to Saturn. With the 42, this is tying back to Satoshi Nakamoto because 181 is the 42nd prime. And again, like I've told you guys many times, Satoshi is Saturn, and the same IP address that created Bitcoin was the same IP address that created OneCoin, which has to do with the origins of XRP. Okay. Also, X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. So the 24 keeps tying back to Satoshi as well. Excuse me, being the 89. 89 is the 24th prime. So we have that 24-42 connection, and we know this ties back to Jupiter because Jupiter's zodiac logo is the 24. That's the way it looks. So just wanted to start out with some of those pieces of information, and we have this date right here not only giving us the 42 date numerology but also giving us the 15 date numerology. And we know how important this number 15 is this year in particular because we've moved into the year of the tiger, and that's the 15 in Chaldean. Another thing that's important about tiger is we have that 32 connection, which again is coming back to XRP and Ripple, but also we have this water tiger is the specific year, and that's giving us the 33. And remember, around I believe it was the 1/4 date of 2018, January 4th, XRP hit $3.20 to $3.30 on a lot of exchanges. So again, we're seeing this 32 and we're seeing the 33 happen throughout all of these cryptocurrencies because that 33 is a big number in esotericism and also in Freemasonry. So let's get a little further into what's going on here. So this was the start date. Again, this is actually the least important part of this decode. Now, what's so crazy is if we're going off the lows right here, and this is, we have to be a little bit more open-minded to the specifics of what I'm about to share with you. Again, it's crypto, and when a coin is trading at a fraction of a penny, this shit is very volatile. Like, on every exchange, it's going to have different wicks and different, levels of volatility because, again, it's like a penny stock. It's trading at such low prices. So even with Bitcoin, we've seen crazy volatility, and Bitcoin's in the tens of thousands. When Bitcoin even trading at all-time highs, it was moving at 5K movements per day. So when I measured off the lows here around the March 1st date, moving up to the high in the structure, I'm getting 76 days off of March 2nd, 7,600%. So XRP from the breakout date to the end of the movement went up 7,600% in 76 days. And again, this comes back to Ripple, 76. And the price stopped at 40 cents. Exactly. And 40 cents ties with Ripple and 40. This is absolutely incredible. So this code is amazing how it's working through. Also, excuse my voice. I had a really long live stream, and I'm just kind of recovering from that 3-hour live stream yesterday. Go watch that if you haven't. I don't know if I'll release this today. I want to work on some more data. I might have a part 2, so I'll probably release this leading into Monday. If I end up releasing it a little later, that's completely fine. It's not really important information in the short term anyways. So we have this 7,600% in 76 days, Ripple equaling 76. So this was clearly manipulated by the code. Now let's take a moment to look at this particular day right here, because this was a massive volatile day. 180% in a single day, and it was the date of April 2nd. So the date of April 2nd is 4/2. And again, Ripple XRP in Gematria equals 42. The date written internationally would be 2/4, and X is the logo of XRP. X is the 24th letter. So the fact that it had this huge move is not weird, because this 2/4 and 4/2 connection, it comes back to Jupiter. Remember, the Jupiter zodiac logo is the 24, and we have Ripple equaling 27 in Chaldean, and that comes back to Jupiter. So it's tied in through the code, okay? That's really what's most important here, is the connection, the big connection here between Ripple and Jupiter, or Zeus. So this is really interesting how this pump happened exactly on that date, and then the following day, which was the 3rd of April, you could consider that 4/3, and 43 is the 14th prime number, and this comes back to XRP with the 14. And the movement of that day was 47% down. You could see that if you look right here when I hover right now. It was down 47%. 47 is the 15th prime number. Again, 15 in Chaldean. So on the 4/3 date, which is the 14th prime, it went down 47%, which is the 15th prime. And we have 14 and 15 right next to each other for XRP. This being exactly after the day that there was a huge pump in the price. And, you know, I'm sure the goal here was to get a 180% gain. That was probably the algorithm. And the reason why for that 180 is that's a very important number in Judaism, and they are the ones who created Gematria, right? So that's why, like, you know, I want people to know this. Whenever I'm talking about a specific religious group or anything, don't take offense to it. It has nothing to do with any religion anyone practices. I'm just talking about the way that this is working on an esoteric, you know, mindset. It's always deeper. It has nothing to do with religious opinion or anything. It's just, in Judaism, they created Gematria, therefore we have to pay attention to any of the practices in Judaism, because that plays a big role in how we're decoding everything in this reality. Of course, there's other players in the game, but they're all tied together at a bloodline level at the top anyways. So they're more alike than they are different. When you're talking about high levels of Catholicism, high levels of Judaism, high levels of the Jesuit order, high levels of, you know, even the Li family in China plays a huge role in everything that's going on. The Merovingians, we could talk about all of that, but I just want to lay that out, because every time that I talk about religion, sometimes people like take it personally, and I'm like, you know, this isn't about what you practice or what you grew up with. There's great people in every practice. There's bad people in every practice. I'm just here to teach. And through this teaching, we're going to have to use these loose terms like Jewish or Catholic or whatever, because that's just part of what the explanation is behind anything that we're sharing. So what I find really interesting about this specific move here is it went to 069, and that 069 again is coming back to Saturn with the 6-9, and it's really quite irrelevant, but we do know that Saturn's playing a huge role here. Saturn and Jupiter are definitely moving the markets below the sun and the moon. So I'm sure there was other things going on here, like lunar phases, etc. I could probably see if that's showing up. It's really hard to tell actually with this particular chart because we have this arduous trading range here, but we could probably find some patterns as well. Yeah, I mean, look on this pump right here, you can see it was within about 2 days of that new moon. That's very typical. This day here, it was literally the new moon was when we got this pump, when it stopped, like the legit day of the new moon. We could see this moon cycle has been working forever. I mean, people try to doubt it all the time because when they're living through it and we get to the day of a new moon, they're like, oh, well, it's down. The price is down. It's like, relax, man. Got to relax. Right here. Literally within like a couple days of this, it's just the energy overall that you have to pay attention to. So this is what's really nice about using this moon cycle is you can see that it's playing usually into our microcycle tops and lows. It's just a window of time though. And remember, what's also quite important is adding up also the gematria, looking into other astrological phenomena such as eclipses, you know, Mercury in retrograde has been a helpful tool for us to kind of determine when we would get some chaos in the market. It's not necessarily to say we'll go one direction or the other. It's just to anticipate volatility. We could use things like Mercury stationed in retrograde for that. So getting back to this decode, this was absolutely incredible to see this one day producing 180% gains. And then the following day, the 4-3 date, again, the 14th prime, and then the 47% move, that coming back to the 15th prime, huge washout, and then building a new consolidation range sideways before another pump up. So this is where we could start to get to the end of this decode, which was where it hit 40 cents. And again, 40 comes back to Ripple and Gematria. And then as well, we have a little bit more to talk about with this specific date. So this date numerology of May 17th of 2017, it was the 23, okay? And XRP equals 23, reverse ordinal. The 17th of May was a Wednesday, or the day of Mercury, miércoles, which Mercury equals 23, and it also equals 40. So again, May 17th, the date numerology was 23. It landed on the day of Mercury. Mercury equals 23, and Mercury also equals 40. And we hit 40 cents for the first time on that day. And again, Mercury has that 40 connection and 86 with Ripple in the same cipher. Okay, so that's really important. And this 23 ties Mercury back to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is the energy of the market overall. So that's why Mercury is a huge player. I mean, Mercury is more in charge of like the finances to us, like just normal people, than even Saturn and Jupiter are when you're really analyzing what's going on here, because he's the trickster, and this has to do with fiat currency also. Like, it's a big game here that's going on, and Mercury plays a role in that. And I have a lot more to teach in regards to that, but that's the basics of it. He's tricking us with the fake money system, the Federal Reserve nonsense. That's what Mercury's all about. So this is a really interesting thing that we see, that from on this particular day, we hit that exact price. And the day of the breakout numerology was the 32. Again, this goes back to March 2nd, the 3-2 date. And then we move to the last day, which is the 2-3, and 3-2, 2-3 is the mirror of each other, again, as above, so below. And then May 17th, 2017, this is amazing, okay? This was the 137th day of the year. So 137 is the 33rd prime number. So it'd go to May 17, and you're going to see right there, day of the year, 137, okay? And then you see the date numerology was that 23 on the day of Mercury, and Mercury gives us 23 in Chaldean. Again, that's the date numerology on that exact day. So absolutely amazing how that all played out. And of course, the day before this day, the day leading up into hitting that price target, with the date numerology double digits, the way I like to do it, you get 58, and that 58 again ties back to XRP, 58. Amazing. It's absolutely amazing how this all came to pass the way that it did. So that's the decode, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. I mean, just a quick recap so we could see how absolutely wild this is. We know the breakout started on this day right here on the March 2nd date. And the price movement from this day to the price target of 40 cents was 7,600% in 76 days. Again, Ripple equaling 76. And this move ending at 40 cents on the exact day that matches Mercury to the price target on the day of Mercury, May 17th, 2017. And I wonder if there was a Mercury retrograde time frame during that as well. That would be really interesting. If someone else knows that, you could let me know. And then again, the date in the middles being the 4-2 date, Ripple XRP equaling 42 in Chaldean. This was a massive move, and you see there was this huge wick to the downside. That was a really big shakeout date because it ended the date still up 180%. So not only did it wash out all the way to the downside, probably to liquidate as many people as possible, and then at this, or to have them panic sell. I'm not entirely sure how much leverage exchange trading was going on back then. There definitely was, but probably not as much as what's going on today. So that there was that washout, and then in the same day, that's a huge manipulation candle. The amount of volume that kicked in that day was probably extraordinary. Let me just see. Oh yeah, look at that volume spike. So XRP went from having no volume, like you don't see anything over here, and then this particular day, just boom, massive surge of volume. That's insanity. Also, one other thing that's pretty interesting, this might be another part of the decode. From this big day right here where it went up 36% up to the wick high, which you can see is right there around 6069, was 580%. So 58, again, coming back to XRP. So it's all coded, guys. It's amazing to see. Like, this was the day of the breakout all the way to the wick high, 580%, and then the following day, the huge washout that matched with the 14 and the 15 on the primes. So, you know, we could be open-minded to how this is going to go for us into this following month, because again, we're in February right now. And if I hide everything, we could kind of see the overall structure. And then we'll wrap up this video. Just to kind of give some thoughts. So, what's interesting about what's going on here is perhaps this peak right here is similar to the last all-time high. And in between, we had this big move up. That could be this move right here, if you wanted to consider such. And then we have a basing structure, which has like a literal random breakout. And I would assume, based on everything I've shared today, that these connections that I was making in the decode are showing you why this breakout happened to the exact prices it happened. It was even a way to determine the final all-time high, again, being around $3.20 to $3.30. The 32.23 connection is really important because XRP equals 23 and Ripple equals 32. So we have that connection directly there. And of course, the all-time high was happening on the 4th day of January, which is the 1-4 date, and 14 shows up in XRP. So it's like a no-brainer. You could just use the basics of the code to have been able to determine that that would be an impactful day. But anyways, now what I'm thinking about that's pretty interesting is this time frame of around May 7th, or let's just call it March, because that was when the breakout started, March 2nd to this March 2nd, or let's call it March 3rd. This is 5 years in one day, and that could be important, that 5-1 connection. So 5 years, 1 day on the 3-3 date. That 51 and 15, again, coming back to XRP, that could be one way of perceiving it. And then we would also have 5 years, 5 days on the 7th. That could be something. The day before that is the 15 date numerology. We know that 15 is important. It would be the 15 and the 51. So could be something there as well. And then we know the 4-2 date, which is coming up. Again, this is the date that I have the most in mind for Bitcoin. This could absolutely be something as well to consider, because we know that big connection between the number 24 and 42 with XRP. Again, X is the logo, and that's the 24th letter. We have that 44 date. That could be something to consider moving into the 5th. And the reason for that is, again, we have that 15 and 51 date numerology. So that 95 also coming back to Neptune. That's another big player in this game. For those of you decoders out there, again, Neptune having that 32, which connects back to XRP through that all-time high that we were talking about before. So, yeah, I mean, I'm open minded. I'm really open minded. I think XRP is still in the cards for having a huge blast off breakout. And I'm really excited to see how that all comes to fruition. But I don't want to use this video necessarily as a prediction. I'm just kind of putting it out there, sharing what happened back in 2017 with undoubtable numbers, you know? And I would love to know your guys' thoughts. Like, how do you feel about all of this? Were any of you invested in XRP back then when it was like sub a penny? You know, this is an enlightening video because a lot of people disregard this cycle for XRP, and this cycle took some time. If we go to this peak right there, 1,200 days or so, if we went from this peak to where we are today, it's probably around 1,500 days exactly. So yeah, it's around almost 1,500 days, and we do have extended cycles as the coin grows in market cap, you know, so it's something to think about. You can see that this big spike up happened in December, but we didn't really have much data. What I'm interested in is the randomness of this pump right here in April and into May. And everything that I've been teaching you guys over this whole year is to get ready for the eclipse that's going to happen in May. And this peak happened on the 15th. Or sorry, I believe it ended on the 17th. Let me just double check on that for you guys. Or I could just look at this chart. So yes, so it ended on the 17th, and the eclipse is going to be on the 16th this year. So is this sort of a crystal ball? I don't know. We just have to wait and see. But it's really interesting how this date kind of lines up with what I've been thinking about. You know, imagine Bitcoin moves up bullish into the new moon time frame of April, which I believe is it's March 30th because there's like a black moon or something like that. It doesn't matter. The point is that I would suspect that would be the real good time frame for Bitcoin through the whole month of March leading into early April around Satoshi Nakamoto's birthday. And then it would be so crazy to see a pullback and then a final pump for the altcoins. You know, something like where the altcoins produced the end of the bull run similar to 2017, 2018. It took about 3 to 4 weeks to see all the altcoins go up like 1,500%, very short period of time. That would be massive, and that would align with around the same time frame of the first eclipse we're going to be getting this year on April 30th, okay? So we have that eclipse on April 30th and then the eclipse on the 17th. It'd be really interesting if it produces like the opposite for specific coins, you know, that are suppressed, for instance, XRP being one of them, where we start to see momentum leading into that, you know, late April timeframe and then blast off into mid-May. And then you have sell in May, walk away. You enter somewhat of a downtrend. This cycle here was really interesting too because it was an additional 200 days and then it led to another pump. So whoever got in on XRP back in this whole cycle, wow. Like, you're a legend because this thing was less than a penny. And if you just held out through this cycle and was able to even take profits like at $1, you know, that's a beautiful move. So hope you guys enjoyed this kind of random decode I wanted to throw out there for the patrons, you know, really thought-provoking stuff. Love to know your thoughts and wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day. Much love.